Please welcome Lara Balazs.
Good morning. Good morning. I cannot hear you. Oh, awesome. How is everybody doing? Good? All right. Well, welcome to day 2 of the world's largest creativity conference. Yesterday, we shared a ton, from innovations in Firefly, our all-in-one AI creative studio, to custom models, AI assistants in Express and Photoshop, layer naming, who knew, fantastic demos, and so much more. It's been so amazing to see the energy in this room and all around the world watch parties online. But day 2 is all about you, the creative community. You, who are the artists, the designers, the storytellers, the visionaries. All of you who see that blank page, that blank screen, and see possibility. You are the ones who truly amaze. You amaze us, you inspire us. As Adobe's Global Chief Marketing Officer, I have the great fortune of being around creativity of all forms every day. And I get to see creators building loyal followings. I get to see marketing teams who are crafting campaigns that reach millions and millions of people around the world and that move culture forward. To our own incredible Adobe teams who are using the same tools you are to tell our story and to bring our ideas to life. What you do inspires all of us. We are so energized by the fact you never stop imagining what is next. You never stop ideating, you never stop experimenting, you never stop pushing the boundaries, and you never stop turning inspiration into impact. And you are not waiting for the world to change. You are the ones changing it. It's not new news that AI is here, and with it, we are standing on the edge of an entirely new creative frontier. A moment where creativity and technology are coming together in ways that we have never seen. And everywhere I go, creatives and marketers, they're asking me the same thing. Will AI really change what I do? What does it mean for me? Well, here is the answer. it will not change who you are. It will amplify what you do. AI is here to be your creative partner, your ally, your collaborator. That partner who helps you imagine more, move faster and further, and explore what is in your mind's eye. At Adobe, we are committed to building that future alongside you. We're not just building the tools that ignite creativity, we're using them too. Right there with you, your partner in creating what is next. You are our inspiration, and you are our lifeblood. And in the spirit of that, today we have invited some of the most inspiring creators on the planet, people who are redefining what's possible when AI is combined with their distinct imagination, design, and storytelling. And they'll remind us that creativity has never been about the tools. It is about the vision. That every single day, with every breakthrough, someone like you is asking, is daring to say, what if? So let's dive in. Now, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming to the stage Adobe's Vice President of Marketing and Communications Officer, Stacy Martinet.
It has a turbo mode in it. I'm definitely being on turbo.
There you go.
You look at me? Perfect. Storm chasing season is upon us. Today could be the day.
I like to focus on the absurd in a lot of my imagery.
This is my creation station. I'm like a kid at heart. I was always so full of wonder, and I'm so happy that I never lost that.
There's lightning everywhere. It's chaos, and yet I find calmness within it.
Make it timeless.
Dude, that is nuts.
I just kind of want to be a fly on the wall, just photographing with no rules and no expectations. Never let it.
We were doing this project with AI from the beginning. We just need to know if it can actually do what we want it to do, and it blew our minds.
I think it's really important that creatives and designers that we don't limit ourselves and see our work as limitless.
Come on, baby, right here.
That's cool, that eye. It's great.
Just being able to explore different ideas is a game changer. There's no going back for anybody.
Oh, that's sweet.
I love how open what I do is. It's up to me, it's a make or break thing, which is honestly a very exhilarating, sometimes terrifying, but sometimes great way to live.
Thank you, Lara. You know, before Lara joined Adobe, she was an Adobe customer many years, and her passion for making sure that we are talking to and serving our customers has been energizing. All right, Adobe Max, what's up? Yeah, day 2. I want to take a quick poll, and I'm going to need you to make some noise so we can make this day 2 loud. If this is your first Adobe Max, please make some noise. Thank you all so much for joining us. I know you're having a great time, and I can't wait to hear about all the people you meet and what you'll be inspired to create. Now, if you've been to 2 or more Maxes, make some noise. Okay. Impressive. Thank you for coming back. Now, how many of you have been to 3 or more Max shows? Yeah, awesome. Nice. I see you, Liz. How about 5 or more? Yeah, okay. Okay, now I may get crickets here, but I'm going to give it a shot. Is there anyone who's been to Max 10 or more times? That's amazing! Now, in fairness, some of those people clapping were our CEO, Shantanu, and our president, David. but I am blown away by the dedication to your craft you've all demonstrated by attending Max over the years. And we thank you all, first-timers and veterans alike, for making Max the vibrant, energetic, creative gathering it always is. I am really excited about today's show. It is filled with inspiration. We're going to hear first from Brandon Baum, one of the UK's rising creative stars, who has attracted more than 23 million followers with his amazing special effects-filled videos. Brandon is going to create something special right here on stage using Adobe Firefly. After Brandon, we'll hear from Mark Rober. Yeah, Mark Rober, a former NASA engineer who used his love of science to build one of the most popular channels on YouTube and help raise nearly $100 million to broaden access to clean water, plant 20 million trees, and remove trash from the ocean. Thank you, Mark. Finally, we'll hear from James Gunn, award-winning director, writer, who helmed the most recent Superman and the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. He is the creative mind behind the hit HBO series Peacemaker, and James is also one of the only directors who has gone on to head a studio, DC Studio, which has produced hit after hit under his leadership. What I love about today's lineup and the creative community as a whole is a demonstration that there are so many different ways to make an impact through creativity. And that creative journeys are all about change and evolution. Over the course of your creative journey, what interests you, what makes you successful, who you work with, and what your goals are will change so many times. Creative careers are driven by curiosity to learn, to try new things. And curiosity will take you very far. And I reject the notion that creativity is this one-size-fits-all, or that AI technologies will just come in and sweep it all away. Because you know that no one and no technology can replace your ideas, your collaborations with your creative community, and certainly not the amazing tension that is the creative process. Adobe's tools have always been made for you to do what you want to do. And I'm incredibly proud of the work our teams are doing to make Adobe's tools smarter and faster for the amazing creative professionals in the audience. You are truly the magicians of our time. And I'm also proud of tools we've developed that help anyone get past that dreaded blank screen. Because there shouldn't be any barriers to expressing your ideas. To make creativity accessible for anyone with an active imagination, we have Adobe Express. And Adobe Firefly is great for creators or influencers or anyone who needs to work at the speed of social. I'm really excited about the all-new Firefly, which brings together brainstorming with Firefly boards, generation using top industry AI models, innovative image, video, audio, editing, and creative production tools. We recently worked with 6 filmmakers for the inaugural Generative AI Film Festival here at Max. All of these artists use Firefly and Creative Cloud to bring their films to life. And I love this observation from filmmaker Meta Puppet, who made the film you're seeing. He said, generative AI didn't just help me create new visuals. It became a kind of time machine that allowed me to revive images and memories I've held onto for 2 decades, and finally tell a story through them. Meta Puppet actually used photos he's taken 20 years ago to recreate a graffiti-filled building that has been since demolished. If you missed that session with the filmmakers yesterday, you can see their work on Adobe's YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Lots of creative people want the ultimate power, precision, and control they get with Creative Cloud applications like Photoshop, Premiere, After Effects, Illustrator, or InDesign. And one thing I love is the new flexibility of these tools. Because some days you just want to lean into the craft of doing everything by hand. And other days, if you're crunched for time, you can use AI to help you get things done or try something new. The choice is always in your hands. We know things are changing quickly, and we want to make sure you have everything you need to keep learning new tools and techniques. And that's why we've really beefed up our learning courses and why we offer so many live tutorials on Behance. These days, you have lots of options that help you follow your curiosity. But succeeding in a creative career isn't all about technical skills. You need to get your work seen, find great people to collaborate with, and line up new clients so you can get paid. One of the best ways to grow your business is through Behance Pro. Behance Pro helps you expand your reach and get access to premium freelance opportunities. And unlike many platforms, Behance takes no platform fees when you get paid. But perhaps the most rewarding part of a creative career is connecting with other creative people, exchanging ideas, finding new collaborators, and discovering inspiration all around. At Adobe, we value the opportunity to bring creative people together at events like this one and other events around the world. And we partner with Creative Mornings because we admire the way they connect the creative community through their free meetups in cities around the world. Okay, now I think you're ready to be inspired and have some fun. We're going to be joined by 3 amazing, inspirational artists. And then, at the end, we're going to have a delicious treat, just a little something to look forward to. But first, I am really excited to bring out Brandon Baum, head of Studio B, whose playful, mind-blowing videos are a staple on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and beyond. Brandon?
Tools are like puzzle pieces. They require someone with enough curiosity to pick them up and wonder, how can these help me build my world? After enough trial and error, flipping pieces around, trying them in the wrong place, eventually something begins to take shape. A story. No two processes are the same, and no two puzzle makers, or in our case, creators, follow the same path. But what we do share is a relentless curiosity to discover what that final story might become. That curiosity, that instinct to build and experiment, it's marked every chapter of storytelling since the dawn of human history. From the campfire that sparked our ancestors' legends, to the printing press that spread stories across oceans, to today, the devices in our pockets where stories are shot, shaped, and shared in an instant. Each tool didn't just bring new stories into the world, it changed who had access to tell them in the first place. Now, I picked up my first puzzle piece at 12 years old after stumbling upon an Andrew Kramer YouTube tutorial that showed me how I could take my scratched up iPod, a $10 green screen, and a cracked version of After Effects, sorry, Adobe, to create my first video. Don't worry, guys, I'm now a paying subscriber. Now, as janky as my first video was, only a few decades earlier, it would have been nearly impossible to pull off. Only a handful of people in Hollywood had the knowledge, the access, and the multi-million-dollar devices to make it happen. But in 2011, with the puzzle pieces I had at my fingertips, I was able to make it in a weekend from my bedroom. As more pieces of the puzzle fall into place, cheaper cameras, better software, faster computers, the barrier to entry drops. And now there's a new piece on the table, One that sparked more curiosity, more fear, and more excitement than anything that's come before it. And to the shock of absolutely no one in this room at this point, yes, it's called AI. Now, as much as some would try have you believe, it's not some almighty piece that replaces the whole puzzle. But it does help us move through it faster. Suddenly, whether you're a first-time creator or seasoned filmmaker, you can test more combinations, try more ideas, but most importantly, you can fail faster so you can stumble on gold quicker. One of my favorite new tools bringing so many of these puzzle pieces into one toolbox is Adobe's Firefly boards. It's unlocking a speed of iteration unlike anything I've used before. So today, I want to see if we can put it to the test and reimagine the ending to one of my videos. So yesterday, I posted this video. Here's a snippet. The gem! Now, I absolutely loved this comment here to the side. Me waiting for the enemies to lovers twist. Now, it kind of got me curious, and I wondered if it could actually make for a great setup for a sequel. So let's see if we can start building out that new twist ending live here together and see where this goes. We're going to start off our process inside of Firefly boards, and you can see I've got our video out here to the side. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to take our statue antagonist, and I want to bring him inside of our desert environment. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a snapshot of a clear frame of our statue. That looks pretty good. And I'll throw it out onto the board just to the side. Great. Now, I want to take our desert environment and find, again, a nice clear shot. And that will be perfect. And throw that out to the side as well. Perfect. Now, we've started to compile our puzzle. Great. Now, we're going to come down to this Generate Image tab over here. The first thing we want to do is select the model that we want to use. So I'm going to start with Gemini 2.5 Nano Banana. And we're going to input our prompt. So here is one I prepared earlier. POV, a marble statue puckers its lips, running towards the camera through a desert storm. I'm now going to go ahead and select our reference image selector. We're going to hit on our statue first. We're then just going to close in where we want the model to be focusing on. So we're just going to hone it in on our statue. Perfect. Then we'll take our desert environment, and we'll select that, and we will hit Generate. Now, the comment section is one of my favorite places to look for inspiration. It's a community of like-minded creatives, all offering their creative 2 cents, developing ideas at scale. Now, the best part is comment threads are public, meaning you can also get inspired by my comment section or the comment threads from one of your favorite creators. Perfect. It looks like we're done. So we're just going to take that image and drag it out and take a look and see what Firefly's created. That looks scary and great at the same time. Okay, so I'm happy with how that looks, but we also have a great feature up here called Vary. Vary allows us to take this idea and create tons of variations. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of the process because you never quite know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's magic. Other times it's completely unhinged, but that's part of the fun. Firefly is going to throw tons of new variations at us. Everything from character design to costume to locations, all to help inspire that final outcome. It's like testing pieces of a puzzle. Most don't fit, but when one does, you know straight away. Great, that's done, and that looks awesome. Now, I really liked that first image generation Firefly created for us, so let's stick with that. We'll just remove the prompts that we created earlier. Again, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and select our model. I'm going to use VO 3.1, and we'll enter in our next prompt. Here's what I prepared earlier. So we've written POV video, a marble statue chases the camera in the desert, running fast, straight to the lens, with puckered lips, and kisses the lens. We're then going to come to our first frame selector, and we're going to select on this frame that we've generated. We're going to keep it into portrait, and we'll hit Generate. Great. Now, you'll notice at the bottom there's this audio toggle. We're going to keep that toggle on because VO is one of the models that supports audio generation. So VO will do a great job at generating some initial sound effects for us, But sound effects is only half of the process. We're also going to want to create an awesome score to go along with the piece. And that's what our next tool today is going to help with. We're going to jump into Firefly's Generate Soundtrack, and we're going to generate our own custom score to go along with our new twist ending. So you'll see we've got all of these toggles at the side, vibe, style, and purpose. I want to start the process by describing the vibe of the song that we're after. So let's go for something that feels a little bit dramatic. I think it should also be upbeat. We want it to be slightly comedic. Then for our style, let's go for classical. I think the strings will sound great here. And then finally, let's use cinematic. I think with the surround sound in the room, it should be awesome. Then we've got purpose. It doesn't quite look like any of these options quite fit what we're after. So we'll just type something custom in. I'll go enemies to lovers story arc. Perfect. Nice. We've got our last few options down here. Let's set the energy to high, the tempo to fast, and we'll set our duration to 30 seconds, and we'll see what Firefly cooks for us. Great. Now we have 4 tracks to select between. Let's listen to the first one and see if it's along the right sort of lines. That's definitely nailed the epic side. Great, let's check back in on our video generation and see how we're getting on. Perfect. It looks like our video is done. Let's throw that out on the board and take a look. Now, the final part of this process is bringing all of this magic together into one place. So I'm going to open up Firefly Video Editor and start bringing all of our assets together. You'll see in our scene, I've already got the live action plate from before. The first thing I'm going to do is going to go up to our generation history. You'll see this video that we just generated is already sitting here. So I'm just going to drag this in, let that load for a little sec. Drag that down. And our video is in. Oh, the gem! Now, of course, you'll notice there's a little bit of a problem here. The 2 shots don't cut together whatsoever. So our first job here is going to be making a seamless transition between these 2 scenes, going straight from our first live action clip to our new generated scene. To do this, we're going to place our playhead between these 2 scenes. We're going to come up to Generation Settings. We then want to set, let's see if I can get this, the first frame of our new clip as the last frame of our first clip. Smashed it. And we'll hit current frame. And then, one more time, we'll set our last frame of our new generated clip to the first frame of our last clip. Amazing. Now we just want to tell Firefly exactly what we want to see happen between this gap. So, of course, here is one I prepared earlier. We've got POV in slow motion. The statue emerges from deep beneath the sand and then starts running towards the camera in super slow motion. Now, you're probably thinking, Brandon, why have you written slow motion in 3 different forms throughout that prompt? Well, at the moment, we are currently in a beta version, so we are locked into a 5-second duration. Now, for this transition, I've already got the meat of what I'm looking to create. I'm not looking for a really long 5-second transition. So a fun little workaround we found is if I actually include in our prompt that we're looking to create this transition in slow-mo, it then means I can go into our properties editor, speed up the clip, and create it to the duration that I actually want this transition to play at. Amazing. It looks like we're still cooking down here. So in the meantime, let's look at our audio selections and decide what we want to bring in. So you'll see up here, if we go to the audio tab, I've got all of our audio sections from before. I actually favorited one of them that I really liked, so I'm going to drag that straight in below here. And just like Premiere or any editor that we're used to, you'll see that it just very naturally sits in our timeline as we'd expect. Amazing. Now, this is the moment of truth. Sometimes this works perfectly first time. Sometimes Firefly likes to remind us that we're doing this live. But that's part of the fun, creative process. Great. It looks like that's wrapping up. So once that's complete, it's just going to sit here in our video tab down here. And it looks like it has done it. So we're going to throw that between our 2 scenes. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to go to our properties. We're going to change the speed. Let's try 200%. And we now have everything together. So to recap, we have taken a video that we uploaded yesterday, been inspired by our comment section, used Firefly to generate an alternate ending to a video we already created, then loaded it into our video editor, created a transition scene between those two moments, and then, to put the cherry on the cake, made an original score to go underneath the whole thing. Max, it's time for the moment of truth. And there it is! Our new ending, built in real time, powered by the tools, the prompts, and a bit of chaos from the comment section. Now, whether this ends up being your final shot, or in my case, a storyboard to help with the brainstorming process, the magic is that in minutes, we turned some curiosity and sprouted it into something on screen. Like every piece of the puzzle before it, the goal of any new tool is to unlock what once felt unimaginable. Now, a puzzle piece alone, it doesn't mean much. It's only when someone creative steps in. Someone with a vision, a spark, and the courage for curiosity that something begins to take shape. Tools don't make stories. Storytellers do. Yes, tools open doors. They expand what we're capable of. They let us dream faster, move bigger, and tell bolder stories than ever before. But on their own, they're just puzzle pieces. And these pieces, no matter how powerful, are still just a pile of potential. That is, until someone picks them up and dares to bring them all together. The next chapter belongs to those brave enough to piece their stories together. So, Max, what story will you tell? Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. That was insane. What he was able to do live here on stage with Firefly was just incredible. And Brandon's eye-popping visual effects remind me also of some other incredible work he does with the powerful and versatile After Effects. Do we have any After Effects users here in the audience? Yeah. I love Brandon's emphasis on the importance of storytelling. And as he demonstrated, the ways we create have changed a lot, and they will continue to evolve. But the technology is all in service of the storytelling that binds us together and always will. Now, if you've ever wondered how to make a Halloween costume that shows a huge hole in your torso, how to create a swimming pool full of Jell-O, or how to make YouTube star Mr. Beast drink a substance from his body that most people would never consider drinking, Mark Rober is the guy to follow. He's managed to do all of that and more, all while slipping in lessons about science. Please welcome Mark Rober.
I'm a former NASA mechanical engineer. I originally got started on YouTube to show off some science stuff. And now I create content for 68 million subscribers.
Please welcome Mark Rober, everybody. Here he is.
Now let's see some squirrels.
Here we go. Back.
This is Glitter Bomb 4.0. It's like a superpower you can learn, and I'd love to see other people catch that spark.
My dream is the world's most powerful t-shirt can.
Here's one! We went out of the stadium! Oh, good to meet you.
Yeah?
These massive drones are attempting to plant 20 million trees from the sky.
The YouTube community is passionate, and they're ready to act. They're energized to make change.
We see the science, and we care.
We want to remove 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean.
Which is just so freaking audacious. This only happens if we all work together. We can be a catalyst for positive change in this world.
Good morning, Max! So in a few moments, something very interesting is going to happen on the stage because I am holding a bucket full of boiling water, and Science Bob here is filling this tub with negative 320 degree Fahrenheit liquid nitrogen. Thank you, Bob. Now what you need to understand is for a cloud to form, you have warm, moist air that's down here, and then hot air rises. It rises up in the atmosphere, but it's colder up there. And water's like a sponge, or air's like a sponge. And when it gets cold, like the sponge squeezes because it can't hold the water, and the water leaks out, and you get a cloud. So we have the warm water here, we have the cold air here. If everything goes according to plan, we should see a cloud in 3, 2, 1. Woo! Okay. Now what's important to know, that doesn't just look like a cloud. That's not a fog machine. That is legitimately an actual cloud. It's the exact same principle. And I love to have those aha moments where you get a better understanding of the natural world around you. I love that feeling. And more importantly, I love giving that to others. And so the way I found to do that is on my YouTube channel, I do something what I call hiding the vegetables. So I'll have a video that's like, kind of clickbait. It's a 15-ton Jell-O pool. But then once you click on that video, pretty soon you're learning about the scientific method. You're learning about chemistry, right? Or maybe if I want to teach about projectile motion and terminal velocity, I'll make a backyard obstacle course for squirrels and then put them in a situation where they demonstrate projectile motion and terminal velocity. And this actually all started for me about it was like 14 years ago today, I uploaded this video. It's still a banger Halloween costume, by the way, if you haven't got yours. iPad in front, iPad in back, FaceTime video, makes it look like you have a hole in your body. This is what my Adobe Premiere timeline looked like. That's right. And so from there, it just kind of, honestly, it escalated. So as an engineer, this is the world's largest super soaker. This is the world's largest Nerf gun. Whoops. This is a snowball machine gun fashioned from a leaf blower. That is my niece. These are my nephews. I still haven't quite figured it out, but when it comes to me, their uncle, they have definitely developed some deep trust issues. And so, as the channel has progressed, now today, my goal is still to get folks, especially young folks, just pumped about science and education, to infect the minds of young people with critical thinking skills and a passion for learning. So I only do about 10 videos a year, but I really try and swing for the fences. And as a result, we do on average, about 20 million views per video. But more importantly, this is what the Adobe Premiere Pro timelines look like today. I'm very happy to say every single video on my channel, I think we have like 73 million subscribers now, every single one of those came from using Adobe products, including Premiere Pro. Let's hear it. So I say all of that to qualify me in some way to answer this question, which is, what do all viral videos have in common? Like, there's sort of a trick to get people to watch a video. It's actually a non-lame answer. And this is useful for anyone in this room who's a creator, but honestly, this trick applies to any area in your life. And this is the answer right here. You just have to create a visceral response. What does that mean? It means that if someone watches this video or whatever content, it needs to make them laugh. They need to feel curious, feel angry, feel amazed, feel sad. They just need to feel something. If something's remarkable, it needs to be able to be remarked about, right? And if you don't feel any one of these things, you don't share the video. You don't finish watching the video. No one shares the video they didn't even finish watching. So that's the easy part. The harder part is, how do you do this? Because if you could figure this out, that'd be pretty valuable, right? If you could get someone to feel something and therefore to take action, that'd be like kind of a killer life hack. For me, that's maybe sharing the video. For you, it also might be, seeing this content, but it could be getting your boss to back an idea you have, right? Or maybe getting a partner or your child to accept your apology. Maybe you're pitching a new company to investors. How do you do this? And let me start, actually, by saying here's how you don't do this, because I think this is the most common mistake, especially me as an engineer, very technical. You kind of want to rely on the facts, the specs, right? Like, say you're selling a computer. It's like, well, our computer is like 20% faster gigahertz, right? Like, nobody cares in the sense that facts don't create that shift in the heart, even if all the facts are on your favor. Just factually stating something doesn't create that visceral response. And as an example of this, I was in New York recently, and I looked out the hotel window, I saw this billboard, and this is an ad, obviously, for AirPods. Now, AirPods for Apple make them $18 billion a year. I think that would put them on, like, if AirPods alone was their business, I think they'd be like the 200th largest company. So if you've ever owned AirPods, you know, on a fact sheet, they just demolish any other in-ear headphones that are out there, right? And like, they could put that on this billboard, but they don't. Instead, they focus on the feeling, right? This billboard tells a story, and it works. It inspires action. We remember, and we go out, and we take action, we buy it. And this makes sense, right? Because we evolved to tell stories long before there was written communication. For hundreds of thousands of years, the way information was passed on, the way you learned to survive, was by stories. It was verbal, right? So take, you're in a tribe of 10 people. Let's say this is Thag here, and his buddy comes back one day, breathing heavy. He's like, I just saw this black and white stripe thing. It's got long white fangs. Look what it did to my arm. This is bad news. Watch out. And maybe 9 out of the 10 people in the tribe are like, whoa, I hear you. I feel something. I'm going to remember. But Thag doesn't have that. For whatever reason, it's not in his DNA. And the next day, he's on the trail, sees the black and white stripe thing with the long white fangs. He's like, do you run from this one or do you pet it? And he's like, I think you pet it. And then moments later, his DNA is removed from the gene pool, right? So it's like the people, our ancestors, the people who survived are those who remembered and resonated with stories. And this scales up. Like, what is a country if not just a story we all agree on that it's, what it is, right? This allows, large-scale cooperation is what sets our species apart from any other that's ever existed. And if there was a smaller tribe, the Neanderthals, for example, who didn't have that, who couldn't rally around an abstract story, well, they just get beat by the much bigger tribe who can, where people are willing to die for their countrymen, people they've never met, because they all just agree and have this story in mind. And so, getting back, the question is like, how does this help you for a YouTube channel? Well, for me, hacking into this DNA, this is how I do it on my channel, right? Like, this is a real thing that happened to me. Someone came by and stole a package from my porch. In reality, this was like a $3 stuffed animal, but that didn't matter. They violated my domain, and I felt powerless. The police can't do anything about it. So I had my origin story, right? Like, how was I gonna avenge this theft? Like a former NASA engineer, how could I completely over-design some kind of revenge package? So I spent a year building this. So it's a simple device. At the top, there's a cup there. And the idea is that would spin with the centrifugal force, would fire out a pound of the world's finest glitter. There's 4 phones on there that could record footage. upload it to the cloud real time. Of course, to help in the retrieval of the package, we had copious amounts of fart spray that then would spray, so they would be incentivized not to keep it in their house. They would throw it out. We would follow the GPS and retrieve the package. And so, in reality, it looked something like this. That is Macaulay Culkin, by the way. This was inspired by Home Alone. Takes the lid off, sprays the glitter, fart sprays, they throw it out, we retrieve the package. So we built 10 of these, put them on porches all across America, and it did not take long to get incredible footage like this.
Babe, I bought you some headphones. I bought you some Bose headphones, okay? Some really good ones.
Surprise!
Hello!
Operation Whoever Smelt It Dealt It initiated.
Oh.
Operation Butt Trumpet initiated.
Oh. Alright, we f***ing get it, okay. Smells like f***ing shit in here.
Oh, I love that. I love the contrast of it starting with him saying, I bought you some really nice headphones. What an arc. We had to actually get, his face isn't blurred there. If I used anyone and their face wasn't blurred, that means we got a release. And sometimes that involved very tough negotiations. In this case, I'm not kidding, that cost us a Starbucks gift card. So, gives you a caliber in a sense. So, notice when you watch that, you feel something, right? If you've ever had a package stolen, what you probably feel is vindication. Here's a more recent example. In that example, I was trying to get you to feel something, to share that video, right? Here, we had a campaign. The goal was to get people to donate money. So myself and Mr. Beast, a couple months ago, we teamed up to create something called Team Water. The goal is to raise $40 million to give 2 million people clean drinking water for decades. Now, it's a fact that 2 billion people in the world don't have access to clean water. That's a known fact. A lot of people have said that before, right? There have been attempts to raise money for this, but we knew our superpower, leaning into that DNA programming in our brains. It's what is the story? So for starters, Team Water. It's like a country, right? It's you're on the team if you donate. You're part of this thing, right? We said $1 equals 1 year of clean drinking water. Jimmy and I were both very adamant working with our nonprofit partners. You have to have some really tangible thing of what a dollar does. We fought so they would implement it in a way that was totally true. And so we also said, let's do it in a month. This is part of the story is we're gonna do this. The story is this will be the largest creator fundraiser in history. And so as a result of this story of saying this is what we can do, we got 15,000 creators in 144 countries. Overall, when we all released videos on August 1st, we got 2 billion views, everyone telling their own stories. I went to Kenya, Jimmy was in Zimbabwe, we were planning wells, saying what this money would do. And as a result, in a month, we raised $41 million. Which is literally 41, million years of clean drinking water, if one person were to drink it, which would be hard. But the idea was that, the other interesting thing actually was that the median donation was $5, which is so cool, right? Because that means that's tooth fairy money, that's bake sale money. That's even kids who heard the story, who saw the videos, they felt a change, I actually want to give my hard-earned money to make a difference and be part of this thing. So there we're using the power of creating a visceral response through a story to inspire action, in that case, global action. I want to give one more example that was really salient to me. I did a video, sometimes I like covering and doing videos on really cool engineering. There's this awesome company called Zipline. Basically, they have the autonomous drones that fly through the air and deliver medical supplies. In this case, in this picture, that's blood in there. And so I went to Rwanda, we covered their story. Like, the engineering is just genius. They launch on this sled in like 400 milliseconds, quicker than you blink. They catch them to have really low cost in this guy wire system. It's all run by the Rwandans. But what's really cool is the idea is, instead of having blood at all these different hospital clinics throughout the country, which is really hard to keep staffed with like the right blood you need, they have one central repository here, and they fly it out. The doctors basically DoorDash blood, and it comes through the sky. Now, if you were to drive it, that's 13 hours on terrible roads. With this, flies through the sky, they can get anywhere in the country in like 30 minutes. Reduced maternal mortality rate by like 88%, right? So cool. And while I was there, I met this guy named Abdul. And Abdul was just such a cool dude. He grew up in a really tough situation. Obviously, Rwanda had the genocide when he was younger. But from a very young age, he knew he wanted to be an engineer.
I remember that I would make cars from milk boxes that was left over. We would add tires there and use it as a car.
Abdul was orphaned as a child when he lost both of his parents and all 3 of his siblings in the Rwandan genocide, narrowly escaping himself. But he didn't give up on his passion for engineering, and so as he got older, he would go around to all the local hospitals fixing their MRI machines for free using knowledge he gained from watching YouTube videos. Abdul was the very first zipline employee in Rwanda, and he really helped to pioneer so many of the systems they have in place today that are now used all over the world.
So cool. So what's interesting is, like, this would have kind of factually been more accurate for who, what they do as a country with zipline, right? Like, this is the spec sheet. In fact, there were hundreds of videos about zipline already on YouTube when I uploaded mine. And I think the most had about 1,000 views. One had like 40,000 views, right? And I had to fight to get Abdul included in this video. I was like, guys, like, this is how we create the connection. Like, what you're doing is so amazing, but in order to get people to care and understand, like, let's use Abdul as the vehicle. And what's interesting is, while I was there, I realized the story was actually a lot bigger than Abdul. Like, he was the catalyst, but this was the real story.
The whole time we were there, kids would be lined up at the fence to watch the drones be launched and captured over and over. In fact, one kid came up specifically wanting to show Abdul what he'd built completely on his own. And in that moment, it was impossible not to compare the complexity of this build to the simple milk carton version Abdul grew up making. Because here you have Abdul, who bears a scar on his head from the same machete that killed his entire family as a child, not only using his engineering knowledge to save the lives of his people, but more importantly, to inspire the next generation of problem solvers to dream even bigger. It's the type of thing that leaves you feeling a little bit of that contagious Rwandan optimism for the future and the incredible potential of us mere humans.
So cool. So as a result of like leaning into the story to create that visceral response, that video now has like over 40 million views. More importantly, they've came back and told me, I think they have like 20 full-time employees now who were recruited by watching that video and then feeling moved to join something like that. So rad. So I just want to close by saying it is a privilege, and it's really inspirational to be in a room of so much creative power. And honestly, in part, I feel like I'm preaching to a choir of storytellers already. But I know from experience, like, the degree to which you don't fight against that hundreds of thousands of years of programming and evolution, the degree to which you could create a visceral response through storytelling, whatever that means in your world, is the degree to which you'll be better at inspiring action. And that means you'll not only be better at your job, but it will make you a better partner, a better parent, a better friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Mark is a great example of how creativity can literally change the world for better. There have been a lot of superhero movies over the last decade or so, but it takes a special director to make a superhero movie that's as funny as it is heroic, and that shows how an inspiring, brilliant, but crotchety raccoon and a talking tree can be together. Or to create a hero as complicated as Peacemaker, who struggles with his dysfunctional past as he strives to do the right thing. That special director is our next guest, James Gunn, who will be speaking with our very own Jason Levine. Please welcome Jason and James.
We need to find Peacemaker. And like Lex Luthor, he's in possession of some kind of dimensional portal. I don't think you understand how important this is to the world.
Hey. Morning. Fuck you then, you crypt keeper looking bitch.
We're right. We're free. We'll fight. No, no. We'll see.
Oh, what the fuck?
All I've ever wanted is to be a real hero.
You're one of us. We need you.
You ready for the next adventure, pal? I'm gonna pretend you found that.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, James Gunn.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm
Hello,
good.
Adobe
I'm excited
Max.
to be here.
Yeah, this is amazing.
This is awesome, man. I'm excited to be back in LA, too. It's a good excuse to be here.
Well, this is incredible, and we're so glad to have you. And you know, you are among 10,000, more than 10,000 creative people across all different creative disciplines.
Awesome.
And of course, everybody has their own creative origin story. And I was thinking, you know, you, of course, you write origin stories.
I do.
But your creative origin story in particular is actually pretty amazing because we know you as a director, as a screenwriter, but music has played an integral role in all the things that you've done. Illustration early on, you started making films really early on, so I thought maybe you could give us a little bit of that creative origin story and how we got to where we are today.
Well, you know, I think that unlike in comic books, human beings have many origin stories. You think back to the origin story of your relationship, of your job, of your work. But I was always kind of searching for what I was best at, and I loved every creative field. So I played music growing up, I drew comic strips and comic books, and then eventually I got hired for $150 to write a screenplay for a B-movie company that specialized in sex and violence films.
Yes.
And I made my first movie for $350,000. But the first time I was on set, which is what I think of as my career origin story, I felt as if I was at home.
Right.
And I instantly just really took to it like a duck to water. And whereas a lot of people go to film school, I did not. I actually went to school for writing, prose. Where a lot of people go to film school, I felt a little left out. But in this job, I was able to learn every single aspect of filmmaking. So for a while, I was in charge of casting. I looked for locations. I actually had to knock on New York brownstones' doors to see if they would take a couple $100 to shoot for a day. I was able to put the movie into theaters, so I learned about distribution. I was able to work on the poster, to do the marketing and the design of the film, and I was able to actually learn about every single aspect of filmmaking in a practical way that I wouldn't have been able to do at film school.
And this film is Tromeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that, but thank you.
It is available. You can watch it.
Oh, yeah, you can watch it, yeah.
In standard definition. Nice.
Yeah, sweet, yeah.
So,
people often come up to me, they say, boy, it's pretty cool you, filmed that in 16 millimeter. I'm like, I was 35, it just looks like crap.
So knowing the... Very honest. So knowing the content of this, now you're still a young man, but a fairly younger man who wore a younger man's clothes. What did your family say? Your parents, I mean, this is kind of your first big thing. What did they say when you made this film? And they saw
I remember going to see my parents. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. All right, St. Louis people, cool. Where'd you go to high school? That's the thing in St. Louis. You just ask immediately where you go to high school. You know, my parents came to the St. Louis premiere of the movie, and my mom was quiet. You know, she's like, who did the lesbian sex scenes? I'm like, that was my choreography. Thanks, Mom. But my dad was pretty stoked. He was into it. He thought there were some jokes that went a little bit too far, but he was stoked to have a filmmaker in the family.
That's amazing. Now, before this, of course, we talked about music. Now, you were in a band.
Yeah.
The Icons, and you guys actually made a record. You did music. You were a singer in this band.
That's right.
And this record came out.
Singer, I like
Singer,
to say.
yes. Recently remastered, I might add. You can find us, of course, on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere that audio is streamed or sold. So, what was this, and kind of what were the origins there? Because it's kind of an interesting mix of music that you did, and you even managed to get a couple, or at least one song in that film.
Yeah.
Very advantageous of you. Were you thinking about, like, ooh, how can I monetize getting a song?
I'm always just thinking about how can I make more money off of whatever I'm doing.
Good advice.
I think, you know, for real, like, if I had to choose what... So let me just... You know, a phrase I think that's overused is follow your dreams. Yeah. Right? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in following your dreams, because when you're following your dreams, you're following this idea of this thing outside of yourself that doesn't have to do with what you're experiencing in the here and now. I always wanted to do something that I could be the best at and that I loved doing. And I loved, you know, doing music. I just wasn't the best at it. And if I could say, God, make me anything, I'd say, please, God, make me a rock star. That isn't how it turned out. So what I was really open to as a young person was finding out what I was really good at and what I really, truly enjoyed. And for me, that was filmmaking. And I think it's a phase that a lot of people skip over today, the discovery phase of having fun with what you're learning about yourself and learning about other people, where you fit in, honestly assessing your abilities. Right. And that's really how I came to filmmaking over music.
Well, this really segues beautifully into this next question, which is really about ambition. And I heard you say that, you know, your life has kind of been built on ambition, that it's kind of instinctual for you. And as, you know, the industry is constantly evolving, obviously just having connections and good screenplays, it's not enough. You need a significant amount of drive, and like what other elements?
Especially today, it's an incredibly, you know, competitive atmosphere out there. I think for me, you know, and I think you can, you know, look at ambition in a lot of different ways, but for me, the crux of it is so boring. And I think you know, the thing is, we do these big conferences and we have people come and they talk about what the truths of their lives are, but so many of the really most honest truths are the most mundane things. Yeah. And for me, it really is working hard. For me, my ambition always took form in, I know I have talent, that's a given. But I know that there's somebody else out there who's equally talented. Right. And my thing was, I'm going to work twice as hard as that person out there. You know, and then I think the other thing is just finishing what I start. I think as a young person, I'd embark on these different projects, and I'd get so far, and then I'd get disgruntled, or it wasn't perfect. I'm a perfectionist, and that was disheartening. And at a certain point in life, I was like, I just have to get to the end of whatever I'm doing. And once I made that choice, my life changed completely.
Well, and so fun fact here. So I had heard or read somewhere that for Peacemaker Season 2, you wrote 650 pages of copy and then produced and directed 650 pages.
Yeah, that's, I mean, within a year. So
within a year.
1 year I wrote 650 pages, and that was Superman, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos, the animated show on HBO Max. And then the next year I produced those 3 things and directed a lot of it. And the next year, it was all released. And now we're working to the next movie, and I was just talking to my agents backstage with me, and I'm like, this is so exciting. We're going into production on Man of Tomorrow in April. Yeah. And
yes.
And I'm so excited about it, guys. I'm so excited about it. But you know, at this point, before Superman I still had to write a whole season of television. And being able to really focus on this, as well as a lot of other DC Studios projects, has been, it's such a relief to me and so fun.
And do you have other collaborators when you're writing, or do you kind of just sit and focus and you just knock it out?
No, I don't understand how to write with someone else. It's just always been a very solo activity for me. But I'm driven, you know, and I think it's like one of the things that writers, for any writers in the room, I think one of the things we do is we judge what we're doing. And that, to me, is the enemy of any creativity. You know, the thing is to create shit, truly. Like, allow yourself to sit down and write something poorly, or draw something that you think isn't good, or act on stage and be, or you know, be creating stuff with, you know, Adobe Photoshop that you think is, you know, not good.
Yes.
Go through the phase of allowing yourself to turn off your self-judgment, because that's where that's where I think true creativity lies. Then you're free.
We had Questlove on stage here a couple of years ago, and he said a very similar thing, which is that for musicians, but writers, it's the same. You have to allow yourself to be bored and to do sort of dumb things, bad things.
Allow yourself to do bad work.
Right.
It's like, but I think it's also, it's part of a bigger philosophy, because when we're acting, when we're actors in our own drama and we're doing the thing and putting forth material, we're not judging, we're not two people at once. And when you're judging what you're doing, you're two people at once, so you're not existing fully in the moment.
Right.
And everything for me comes back to existing in the moment, to be present fully. That's the thing that allows us to be creative. That's the thing that allows us to come up with new ideas. That's the thing that allows us to be on stage, and me being here and enjoying this, and hopefully some of you out there being present and enjoying listening to my prattle on. But it's really about being in the moment always for me.
Yeah. So that actually is another great segue. So again, you're kind of known for creating worlds, and incredibly rich worlds that really blend practical effects and just massive digital creations. And the craft of stitching those two together is obviously changing rapidly. It's evolved enormously over the last couple of years. So what part of that evolution has really been the most exciting for you as a storyteller, as a filmmaker?
I mean, I love technology. You know, I really love technology, and I love seeing the ways in which computer graphics have improved so much in every movie I work on. You know, I mean, when I first saw, there's a company called Framestore, visual effects company. They did Crypto and Superman, and when I first saw the test of Crypto, I was like, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just seeing all of that. But there's also, you know, changes in technology with what they're able to create practically, and that's cool too. And so for me, you know, I'm a storyteller, so it's always about what's the best option for me to tell a story, what works best. I have never been prejudiced in terms of practical over, you know. The one thing I will have to say that I don't like in Hollywood movies is that a lot of people don't plan. So they get on stage and they don't know what they're going to do, so we'll just make it CG. And I think when you have stuff like that in movies, it ends up being sloppy and not always so great.
Right. It should augment the story, ultimately.
You should know what you're doing, you know, as much as you can. Not always, because we all make mistakes and have to go back and change things. But you want to know what you're doing as well as you can, so that you're, you know, using the best tool for that moment, you know, to create a reaction from an audience.
Amazing, amazing. So one of the things I want to talk to you about, because this was something that I've noticed watching a lot of your movies, even Romeo and Juliet, where you featured your brother, Sean Gunn, is that you tend to work with a lot of the same people. You have a lot of the same actors in a lot of your films. And this is something which I think as, again, collaborators here, and I know this personally, and we have a team that put on our keynote yesterday, having those relationships, there's something in that, right? It's beyond just working with familiar faces. There's, you know what you're getting, but also there's a trust involved. How does that kind of play into the stuff you're doing?
I mean, I think you kind of answered the question to some degree. I love working with actors, you know, numerous times, because every actor is like Photoshop. You have to work with it. It's a good intuitive program. There's obviously good stuff there, but there's a learning curve. And with every actor, there's a learning curve. For instance, when I first shot with Zoe Saldana and Chris Pratt, at the time, Zoe was the bigger actor. So I did the thing that you think you do her angles first, right? I shot with her first, and then I shot with Chris. He wasn't as well known at the time, and he did his thing second. But I found out as we went on that it was really, Zoe gets better and better and better with every take. And with, Chris, there's flashes of brilliance, and then he goes into some insane thing. So he's one of my best friends.
Yeah, I was
but
going to say,
you
guys are cool. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but sometimes he's an unattended fire hose.
Okay.
So you want to capture that, and a lot of times you want to capture that right away. He's also always very prepared.
Yeah.
So I changed it to shoot him first and Zoe second. Now for every actor, there's 100 things like that. So I didn't know how to handle David Corenswet until about halfway through Superman.
Yeah.
Then I got him, and I understood the way I needed to work with him. Very honest, very blunt, very tough. He likes, just honesty. I don't have to use kid gloves with him like I do with some people. And he doesn't use kid gloves with me.
Right.
Which I wish he did, but he doesn't.
Right.
So it's like there's a different, learning curve for every actor. So when I go into, doing Man of Tomorrow, I'm excited because I get to work with Nick Holt again. I get to work with David again. I get to learn with Rachel. Only this time I don't have to learn what works for them and what doesn't. I already know.
That's amazing. I want to go back to music for just 1 second since you brought up Guardians, and I think everybody knows here, and including Peacemaker as well. Music in your films. You are now absolutely well known as someone who brings a special musical aspect. The music in those films it's another character, right? It's another character.
Thanks.
And you've had huge hits, like you've reinvigorated older songs to become huge hits.
Yeah.
Because of these films. And in Peacemaker, Wigwam, they recently had that massive viral hit.
Yeah.
How do you choose these things? How do you come about these songs, these artists?
It's always from a perspective of storytelling. I mean, I'm trying to find songs that match what, is needed in the film. So like when I used all the 70s AM pop hits in Guardians, people were always like, well, obviously that's the type of music you like. And I'm like, not really. I did it because it seemed to be what really fit the vibe of the movie.
Right.
It helped to ground a movie that I was afraid was going to be too out there for audiences because it's in outer space and there's nothing we're used to as humans. So instead of using, set design that's from Earth, I used music to help to ground us in the emotional reality. Music that was familiar to us, that we knew, probably had heard the song, but probably didn't know the name of the artist.
Yeah.
And so there's always a very specific vibe to it. With Peacemaker, it was really the result of, using old hair metal songs, for lack of a better term, glam metal, hair metal, sleaze metal, whatever you want to call it. And
my favorite genre, I might add, as well.
Is it?
Yeah, well, kind of looked the part a little.
It's not enough hairspray, man.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, next time.
And so, it was really trying to find the best versions of those songs, but that's the kind of music Peacemaker listens to. Right. So it's about, using that for him. So it really does have to do with, again, with storytelling.
Amazing. So, as we're sitting here, I'm thinking, you've done all these things, you've kind of crossed all of these disciplines, and you talk about how that's something that, I remember when I first started Adobe, a good friend here said, diversify your knowledge of all the applications. So Premiere, Photoshop, After Effects, Illustrator, learn all of these things. Fail, try, fail, get better again. What would your sort of final words, advice be to creatives today who are starting in film, starting in music, starting in any sort of creative discipline? Because, as you mentioned, it involves clearly a lot of ambition. There's also a bit of luck in there. There's also a bit of time and place. But do you have any sort of general words or specific, non-general words?
I mean, I think that, luck definitely plays a part. But as has been often said, again, another mundane truth, we do make a lot of our own luck. And a lot of people who are the luckiest aren't lucky because it's some sort of genetic, aspect of their character, but it's because they put themselves out there constantly. And if you're putting yourself out there constantly, you get more opportunities. And I think that that's the first thing, is just don't be ashamed. Be honest and be authentic about what your desires are, about who you are. When I came to this industry, really coming to Hollywood back in 1998, I was too odd for mainstream Hollywood. And little by little, I started to sort of match what the culture was around me. And so I began to fit in, but I was always honestly and authentically who I was. I never wrote a story or a screenplay or a TV show that I didn't really love. So I think being authentic is important. I think, as I said before, you know, just working hard. And I think, you know, I think if I said one last thing, I think, you know, when I was about 20, I went through a crisis. I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. Maybe 22. I was had dropped out of school for a year, was playing music, and I thought, I'm not sure the music thing is the best thing for me.
Was that here in Los Angeles?
No, I was in St. Louis.
You were still in St. Louis, okay.
And so I was gonna go back to school, and my whole family are lawyers. My dad's a lawyer, all my uncles are lawyers, my grandfather was a lawyer, and I was thinking about being a lawyer. And I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm thinking about being a lawyer because everybody else is. And he said, Jimmy, he calls me Jimmy. He said, Jimmy, I'm a lawyer because I love contracts.
Right.
I love documents. I love the fine print.
PDFs, maybe.
I do what I love. He probably loves PDFs.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. You're welcome.
And he said, at the end of the day, you have to do what you love, and the rest will follow. And thank God I had that guy as a dad, who's passed now, because he was the one who set me on the right path. When if I was left to my own devices, I think I would have acted out of fear, and I think that I would have, you know, taken, you know, something that was a little bit more seemingly stable than taking risks doing what I truly thought I was good at. And so take the risks, you know. The worst thing that can happen is you get hurt and disappointed, but you're always going to feel good about yourself.
That's amazing. That is amazing. James, I have to say, as a fellow silver fox,
yep.
A humble silver fox as well.
Club of two here on stage.
Oh, thank you, yes. It has been an absolute pleasure. You make movies, we'll watch them. You pick the music, we'll listen to it. You are an inspiration to so many. I just had to say, too, an inspiration to my entire family. My children wouldn't be who they are without Guardians and Peacemaker and all of your films and everything else. And the icons. Check them out on Spotify.
I love being here. Thank you to Adobe. I'm so excited. I mean, this is outside of my comfort zone. This isn't what I usually do.
No.
So this is really cool to be here and experience this with all you guys. And I'll remember this. So thank you so much for welcoming me.
The amazing James Gunn. Thank you.
I follow you. Thanks, Stacey.
Okay. Thank you, James and Jason. I wish that interview could have gone forever because it was so insightful, so inspiring, and just incredible. I really appreciate James' insights from an incredible career and the journey he's been on. And also, how great was it to have Jason back on the Max stage? Yeah. Okay, so by now you may have guessed that our delicious surprise this morning is Girl Scout cookies. And initially, I was thinking I could just grab a box of Thin Mints and Do-si-dos or the all-new Exploramores and toss them into the audience. But our lawyers thought that throwing sharp-edged cookie boxes at you might be a tad dangerous. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because we have a better plan. We have 4 local Girl Scouts who are coming through the theater to hand out cookie boxes. Let's welcome our Girl Scouts, who are aided today by their troop leaders and moms, including our very own Brittany Mascara, who is a troop leader. met these girls earlier, and let me tell you, they are awesome. They are going to do so many amazing things. Now, as quick as they are, I know they won't be able to get cookies to all 10,000 of you. But don't worry, we're including Girl Scout cookies with your lunches after the show, so you'll all get your fix. Now, we have the Girl Scouts here, not just because everyone loves Girl Scout cookies, but also because we recently partnered with them for our Digital Academy initiative. Through Digital Academy, Adobe is helping learners and teachers develop AI literacy and content creation and digital marketing skills to help them thrive in the modern workforce. Our goal is to bring these skills to Girl Scouts across the country. Now, you may be saying, Stacy, do the Girl Scouts really need help marketing? And you're right. Adorable, confident girls imploring you to buy delicious cookies is A+ marketing, no notes. Through Adobe Digital Academy, though, we're helping the Girl Scout team use digital and AI resources to take that spirit of the in-person appeal to social and online channels so they can sell even more cookies. Through Digital Academy, we're also working with UNICEF, Build.org, DECA, and many other groups. In fact, we're on track to reach 1 million learners globally by the end of 2025. And what folks learn at Digital Academy is increasingly vital. To close the digital divide, we need to make sure everyone has access to critical AI skills. You know, I remember when I applied for my first job. I spent so much time trying to make my resume look good. It was all the bullet points and the fonts and colors. And in retrospect, oof. It was nothing like what you would have to produce today. The expectations are higher. So I'm glad that job seekers have tools that can help make their resumes and other materials look good, because visual communication is becoming more and more important in our global society. And we want to help everyone use the latest digital tools to express their ideas faster and more effectively. Okay, switching gears for a moment, you probably remember these amazing images and bits of footage you saw on the screens before the show started. All of that incredible art came from the winners of this year's Adobe Max Creativity Awards. I want to take a moment to acknowledge, again, all these talented creators. Let's give them a big round of applause. This is the second year of these awards, and we've expanded from 6 winners last year to 15 this year, with awards for professional work, work done out of personal passion, and work done by young creators. Congratulations to all our winners, and thank you to everybody who submitted material for this year's contest. It was definitely difficult to choose only 15 winners because all of your work is amazing, and we'll be sharing it out over the coming weeks and months. Okay, to recap, it's been an incredible Max so far. You have new power in Creative Cloud, mind-blowing capabilities in Firefly, new AI assistants in Express and Photoshop, and for our brand and agency folks, Gen Studio has loads of new capabilities. You have unlimited Firefly generations for the next month, you have access to Behance, and you have Girl Scout cookies. So I think it's time to party. But before we do, a couple of reminders. First, absolutely do not miss Sneaks tonight right here in the Peacock Theater. As you Max veterans know, Sneaks is where our engineers and scientists show off the incredible new features they've been cooking up in our R&D labs. It is always mind-blowing and a lot of fun. And this year, our Sneaks co-host is the hilarious Jessica Williams. And after Sneaks, make sure you join us at the Max Bash, which is always a lot of fun. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for being part of our community. Thank you for the inspiration. Enjoy the rest of Adobe Max.